So as users take on more control over what, when, and how they watch, Horizon is really rethinking and evolving how we plan for CTV. So first and foremost, we think of CTV not just as one category, but really subcategories. It's not just one thing. There's CTV, there's live CTV, there's the SVOD, subscription video on demand, that really sort of kind of drew consumers into the area. And then there's the growing space in fast services. And I think that looking at these subcategories and the role that they play in each of our clients' media plans is really critical. So we plan for these subcategories and look at them differently. But then, of course, just with anything else, we also optimize as time goes on. So we want to make sure that we are optimizing and kind of rolling and changing things as we go through our campaigns, and not just what happens in the pre-planning phase, but also the results that we're seeing on the back end.
Sam wanted to know what's driving client demand for greater content transparency and program level insights within CTV.
So I don't think it's crazy to want to know where our ads are ending up, what type of content that they're in. That's the type of information that we've always had in television, and we're looking for that same type of information in CTV. I think there's been a reluctance to give that level of information because, you know, there's the thought that maybe if we know where the ads are running, that we would shy away from certain areas. But I think the more information that we have gives us greater control. And it's not just about the areas that are going to draw the biggest reach or have the most engagement. It's all of these things combined. So we're looking at things that are most effective, but we're also coupling that with efficiency. And especially in a world where we're optimizing and doing a lot more programmatic activation and real-time bidding, this is really critically important so that we can actually bid on the impressions that are important to us, and it really runs the gamut from the type of content that's going to draw the greatest viewership down to content that maybe, you know, only certain audiences are watching, and it's a smaller scale, but it's still important.
Looking at the way you gather and understand those insights, wanted to know how contextual metadata is helping bridge the gap when user-based targeting becomes less reliable.
So it's important who's watching, as we know that, but it's also important what they're watching. Content and context matters. We know that contextual targeting works. When we show up in areas that are more contextually relevant, our ads are much more impactful. So I think that as this evolves, we're talking about program level information. It really is, that type of information is helping us couple that with context, and that's helping us kind of determine where our ads should end up.
Brand safety and brand suitability are also constantly evolving, perennial issues for advertisers. How do you see that evolution, particularly as we gain more visibility into specific shows and scenes?
I think as we gain more specific insight into shows and scenes, I think there's the thought that maybe people are going to shy away from certain areas, but I think it actually opens up certain categories for us because we can really find ways to be in certain programs and just shy away from certain elements. So if there's a particular program that has one scene that's really going to be risque, but the rest of the program is okay, we know we can kind of push away from that and optimize away from that. And I think that brand safety and suitability in CTV has sort of been held to the legacy television standards that really have been, you know, left over from broadcast television when it was people watching things all at the same time and you really didn't have control over where your ads were ending up. But that's different in CTV. And I think CTV is held to kind of the television standards, but it's really not held to the same kind of digital standards. And I think that we need to kind of find that marriage there to lean a little bit more towards digital because we have the control there. So I think this area is huge in CTV, and I think that we really need to embrace being able to control for brand safety and suitability and acknowledge that it's going to actually open up a wealth of inventory for us and not necessarily close things off.
So, Sam, I can't let you go without asking you about AI and where it fits in terms of anticipating viewer patterns and improving placement decisions in real time. How does AI fit into that?
I think AI is going to be critically important in CTV placement, just like it's going to be in so many areas. I think we'll see how AI is going to help drive contextual relevance and put our ads in the right areas. And I think really what we'll see is also really improved placements within interactives and CTV placements there, and innovation. There's so much that's happening in this area with things like QR codes and interactivity and drive to certain placements that is really unique in the CTV space. And I think AI is going to help optimize and find efficient areas for us, and also make sure that it's relevant to what we're trying to accomplish for that particular campaign and what that particular KPI is for our clients.